Hello, I'm Benny Westside, and today I want to talk to you about Lady Deathstrike. We're going to go over her abilities, T4 upgrades, ISO 8 options, Dark Dimension prospects, how much or how high you should build her, and then I guess you see what I've done with her, but I could talk about my reasonings. So let's get right into it. I like starting with the passive, so here we go. Murderous Intent. On turn, heal for 20% of this character's max health. When this character drops below 60% health, gain 2 death proof. Gain 25% crit damage. Weapon X allies gain 25% crit damage. In war, she gets extra focus for herself and Weapon X. And in war, she also gets resistance against bleed for herself and Weapon X allies. The T4 upgrade, when she falls below 60% health, she also gets 2 evade next to the 2 death proof. That's very nice. And then she also lowers the resistance by 50% for enemies with bleed. And considering she has a lot of bleed in her kit, this compounds well. I think that's a nice upgrade. Not an essential one, but this is very nice. I think it's a good value if you choose to do it. Alright. Normally she doesn't start with her ultimate, but with Scientist Supreme, they get energy to go before their first turn, so she will start with her ultimate. Adamantium Flurry, it's on a 6-turn cooldown. Attack primary for piercing, apply +1 defense down, and apply bleed. And then she's gonna rebound chain to 3 adjacent targets for 2, again piercing, apply +1 defense down, and apply bleed. She's going to clear all debuffs from self and all Weapon X allies. She's going to apply immunity to self and all Weapon X allies. She doesn't do these for Orchis, but it's not that big of a deal on that team. She's really just a damage dealer. Scientist Supreme covers the cleansing, the immunities, so those bases are covered. And then this attack cannot miss any target that already has bleed. Miss means if she's blinded. If you target her into somebody with bleed, she will ignore the blind. Or the Weaver passive. Or charges. If this character has 3 or more Weapon X or Orchis allies, this attack cannot be countered. Normally the counter would break the chain. Alright, the T4 upgrade makes her rebound to an additional target, and then she applies 2 bleeds instead of 1. This doesn't add any functionality, so it's not an essential upgrade, but it adds a lot of damage. It adds a whole new target, it doubles the bleeds she puts out, and it also means the bleeds do extra damage. The bleed damage scales with the ability level, so here this is a very high value upgrade, not essential, but I would very much recommend. Alright, her special, this is on a 3-turn cooldown and comes ready. Gain offense up for 2 turns, attack primary and adjacent for piercing, apply bleed, and rewind for 20%. Repeat using a new primary target randomly chosen from the previous secondary targets. This secondary attack can target stealth targets. On kill, she's going to increase the duration of all buffs on self and all Weapon X allies. Again, she doesn't do it for Orchis, but Scientist Supreme has an extension on a 3-turn cooldown herself. The T4 upgrade adds piercing to all targets, and then it also doubles the amount of bleeds. Again, very high value, not essential because it doesn't change her functionality, but very, very high value. So I would recommend this one as well. Alright, her basic. Transfer 1 deflect from primary to self. Attack primary for piercing. If primary has bleed, repeat this attack. And with her, targets more often than not do have bleed. This attack is unavoidable, so if she's blinded, you could use her basic, or you could use it against targets with evade. This attack is unavoidable and gains extra focus. The T4 adds piercing to all attacks, And if the primary target had bleed, she also applies defense down. This is a very nice upgrade. I wouldn't call it an essential one. It it adds the defense down to the ISO attack too. So it has very high value, but yeah, not essential. And probably I would maybe rank it above the passive, but probably after the ultimate and the special. Um, I think that's it for the abilities. We did talk about the ISO attack. I think she's a very, very good striker. All of her abilities do bleed. Her ISO attack does bleed. Defense downs. She has a crit damage boost. It's nice. Raider is an option because all of her attacks are multi hits. But as a striker, think Robbie Reyes. She does so much damage that you will be impressed as a striker. So that's what I recommend, and I think that's what she should be. In terms of build goals, I would say she's the main damage dealer of the team, so build her as much as you can. She is cheaper to build. She takes 2 sets of minis for each gear tier, so that's a nice factor. But do keep in mind she takes adamantium, which Logan also does. But I say build her as high as you're able and willing to, because not only is she a star damage dealer on her team, she will also come out of her team very well. She'll work well with Hive Mind, Cabal. I had somebody else in mind. Secret Defenders probably. So I I would say keep an eye on her, build her big, and enjoy her. Which is what I've been doing. I built her all the way up to gear 19. Took her to blue 5 striker. I might possibly take her to Dark Dimension 8, so it could go to purple 3 striker. I think I have all of her yeah, I have all of her T4s from before. I would recommend them. They're all good. Um, One thing I haven't been doing yet is buying any diamonds on her. They do tend to give diamonds for newly reworked characters, so I don't want to be burned, so I haven't spent any. But once the dust settles on this team and they still haven't given any, I will start buying diamonds, and I would take her all the way to 3 diamonds. I think she's fantastic and she benefits a lot from those stats. Um, yeah, she's a powerhouse. So 3 diamonds, very recommended. Uh, it's just that I'm timid because of the events, and I'm sure if I take her to 3 diamonds, uh, they'll do an event next week. All right, Dark Dimension Prospects. I think she's an easy choice now. Whether you bring any other Orchis characters or just take her with Cabal and Nightcrawler or Black Knight, she's an easy choice. She's cheaper, she does so much damage, and she has self sustain. Keep in mind, she got reworked into the new stat meta, so she's going to be a couple notches above what your other global characters are going to be. Uh, as I mentioned before, she takes the same unique as Logan, which is adamantium. So make sure you don't screw yourself over for Logan. But I think taking 2 characters to Dark Dimension 7 that take the same unique isn't out of the question. I've done it on a couple occasions. I did 2 adamantium, 2 osmium, um, 2 gamma, 2 astral, so 2 uru. So yeah, it you can easily manage to take 2 of the same unique. When it gets to 3, it gets sketchy, but just keep it in mind. But in terms of tech gear, she is cheap. She only takes 2 sets of minis. I think yeah, she's an easy choice for Dark Dimension. I believe that about wraps it up. Before we go, I do want to shout out the fact that I have a graphic for this. I will link it in the description below. We went over the reasonings and the discussion of each decision. This is basically a summary of that, so you can have handy. I put out crash course graphics and videos for every new character that gets released or reworked, so watch out for those. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you for going over Lady Deathstrike with me. I hope to see you in the next one.